Audio Renaissance presents The Terror Dream, Fear and Fantasy in Post-9/11 America by Susan Faludi. Read for you by Beth McDonald. Introduction. The Terror Dream. In Trauma at Home, after 9/11, one of several high-toned anthologies published in the early aughts that strived to make meaning out of the Twin Towers rubble, Judith Greenberg, a professor of comparative literature, offered an example of how this tragedy has been played out upon the body and in the mind. Curiously, given that the tragedy's casualties were overwhelmingly adult and male, the bodies and minds in her anecdote all belonged to girls. In the weeks following the terrorist attacks on the World Trade Center, Greenberg recounted 5 gaunt teenage girls had arrived separately at a Manhattan hospital, complaining of identical symptoms. They were wasting away because they couldn't swallow, and they were sure they knew the reason. All 5 believed that some debris or body part from the destruction of the towers had lodged in their throats and produced the symptom. The ear, nose, and throat surgeon who examined the girls discovered that their throats were indeed constricted. But he could find no obstruction, no debris, and needless to say, no body parts. Greenberg read the girls' ailment in metaphorical terms. They expressed hysterically what many of us feel, she wrote, that the information is too difficult to swallow. An inability to digest the catastrophe seemed evident throughout Trauma at Home, which, as Greenberg ruefully conceded in the book's introduction, amounted to little more than attempts to construct a narrative. Another contributor to the collection, Doris Laub, a psychoanalyst and as a Holocaust survivor, no stranger to atrocity, reached the same conclusion. September 11, she wrote, remained a story in search of a voice. Which begged the question, were the choking girls a metaphor for our failure to swallow the experience of 9/11, or for our inability to express it? In the electronic square, the gruesome visuals of the calamity replayed day after day, anniversary after anniversary, as if footage could substitute for fathoming, repetition for revelation. Everything has changed was our Instabite mantra, recited in lieu of insight. Our media chattered on about the death of irony and the death of postmodernism without ever getting close to the birth of comprehension. The cacophony of chanted verities induced a kind of cultural hypnosis. Americans seemed to slip into a somnambulistic state. As Laub wrote of other witnesses to massive violence, what they felt, what they saw, what they experienced, what they remembered, it suddenly becomes unavailable to them. It's all a haze, like walking in a dream. By mid-2007, long after the nation had passed the 5-year anniversary mark of the attacks, we were still sleepwalking. Virtually no film, television drama, play, or novel on 9/11 had begun to plumb what the trauma meant for our national psyche. Slavishly literal reenactments of the physical attack, pre-approved and pre-sanitized by the new production code committee known as the 9/11 families, or unrepresentative tales of triumphal rescue at Ground Zero seemed all the national imagination could handle. United 93, Paul Greengrass's almost real-time chronology of the events on the last hijacked plane, released in April 2006, seemed to have no purpose other than to repeat what we already knew. What is Greengrass actually trying to say about 9/11, wondered Slate critic Dana Stevens. That it was a terrible day on which innocent people suffered and died? Remarking on director Oliver Stone's uncharacteristically timid treatment of 9/11 on the occasion of his film's premiere in August 2006, New York Times critic Alessandra Stanley wrote, "For all its awe-inspiring special effects and operatic touches..."
Sample complete. Ready to continue?